Hi guys, I've been anticipating this fragrance for a while now. None of the stores or department stores that I buy from had it. They initially told me it was at the very beginning of January, then it went to the middle of January, and now we're here in the beginning of February, and I'm finally getting my bottle of Bois Talisman, I should say. It came in a bag like this with some mini options in here as well. There are a few minis. And it looks like there is a sample of Bois Talisman as well. I've been hearing from people that this reminds them of By the Fireplace. I pulled out By the Fireplace just to compare. I haven't sampled this yet, but as soon as I placed my order from the Dior website, I got a call from Neiman Marcus saying, guess what? We got it in already. And I'm like, okay, I've already just placed my order. I wish you told me earlier. But it's here finally. I'm going to do first impressions on camera and see how it compares to By the Fireplace. Have you guys compared these two yet? Do they remind you of one another? Anyway, I'll be talking to you about this coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Sebastian. I'm talking to you about Bois Talisman, the brand spanking new Dior Privé fragrance. So this is the first 200 ml bottle that I've bought. It's always been a 250 ml bottle. So this is the 250 ml bottle of Vanilla Diorama. And we're going to open this up here in a minute. So I did a report on this a couple months ago saying how Dior is changing their bottle sizes. So no longer 250 ml bottles. They are now 200 ml bottles. What a freaking bummer. This is actually going to stand out against everything else that I have. Everything else that I have is 250 ml. Now we've got a 200 ml. And the price is the same. So you're paying $450. Before you were paying $450 for the 250 mLs. Now you're paying $450 for a 200 ml. I'm also wondering if they're going to raise their prices up, because Chanel is also raising their prices up for their less exclusives. I did a video last year on their price increases. They had gone up from $450 to $500 in a 200 ml, because theirs have always been 200 ml. This year it's going up another $40 to $540 for a 200 ml bottle. So we did have the price. We did have the size decrease. Are we going to get a price increase for these as well? That's another story. Let's talk about Bois Talisman though. So this is the latest Dior Privé collection fragrance created by Francis Kurkdjian. This is the third Francis Kurkdjian Dior Privé fragrance since he took over. Although they did release the two initial fragrances that he had created before he was creative director, and but these are like the three original fragrances. It was Dior Riviera, it was New Look, and now we've got Bois Talisman. So yeah, I have been hearing that this does remind people of By the Fireplace, which is kind of disappointing. I wonder if that was intentional or was that by mistake? Because according to the Dior website, they were going after an inspiration from what the info is on that website. Something that Christian Dior did. He had I guess he put a sugar cube for some luck or something. I'm not digging into the details too much. This is what I read. So there is that kind of an inspiration, but I'm just wondering if the intention was to make something similar to By the Fireplace, or was it an accidental accomplishment of that? But the price breakdown for these are 50 ml for $220, 100 ml for $330, and then of course I have the 200 ml for $450. I guess I like the bottles a little better in my hands, but for me it was all about getting the most juice, and I don't like the fact that I'm getting less juice now for the same price. It's a bummer. Plus this is going to stand out like a sore thumb against all my other bottles that I have from the Dior Privé collection. So in the future, if I go and I want to buy another bottle of Vanilla Diorama, I'm going to have to end up getting a 200 ml bottle. No longer a 250 ml bottle exists. And also, all of the ones that are discontinued, like Fève Delicieuses, they will never come in a 200 ml bottle. So I'll always end up with a 250 ml bottle of that. But this is created by Francis Kurkdjian, the in-house creative director. It's featuring notes of cedarwood, vanilla, and sugar, kind of simplistic. Shall we smell it? Let's smell it on strip first, and then let me see if I can identify similarities to By the Fireplace, because I know that fragrance very well. Yeah, I do see the similarities. Not identical. Obviously, Maison Margiela, who's part of L'Oreal, is using different ingredients, or their ingredients come from different sources. Yeah, it does remind me of the idea of By the Fireplace. The woods in this smell more like pencil shavings, and the pencil shavings idea was mentioned on the Dior website for this fragrance. I don't get pencil shavings from the By the Fireplace fragrance, but this is kind of smoky and sweet and sugary, caramelized, very woody. So the cedar in this is quite pencil, like it's almost like shaved pencils, or you're working in a wood shop and you're shaving the wood. It has very much that kind of a smell, but it's against the gourmand notes of the sugar and the vanilla. Now, I wouldn't call this a disappointing fragrance. It's definitely in my style. So there is that going for it. This is the first fragrance that I'm excited about from Dior's Privé collection. Sadly, it had to come in a 200 ml bottle, not the 250, because we had the Dior Riviera I mentioned, and we also had the New Look. Those were good, but not exciting. This is definitely more exciting for me. Disappointing that it reminds me of By the Fireplace, but exciting because I like the notes breakdown. And the pencil shavings in this kind of reminds me of the pencil shavings that I got from the Comme des Garçons fragrance from the incense series called Zagorsk, because there's a lot of pencil shavings here. Really kind of shaved pencil woods that have kind of maybe caught on fire, mixed with caramelized sugary vanilla, and that's pretty much it. Smoky, for sure smoky. Now, this is not a disappointing fragrance. I don't think it's identical to By the Fireplace, but similar idea. So it is kind of disappointing in that way. Let's go ahead and spritz this on. Honestly, though, it doesn't have a luxurious feel to it. That's the disappointing part. I like the way it smells, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I have something like this already. Again, not identical. I'm definitely getting pencil shavings off of this. Shaved woods. It's quite prominent with the cedar. So I think they were trying to give us a fragrance that's not overly sweet and sugary like Vanilla Diorama, which happens to be my favorite still from the Privé line. So they were giving us a nice balance of woods and sweetness. And so we've ended up getting something like By the Fireplace. So let's quickly smell them two side by side. So in my videos, I've always mentioned I get smoke from By the Fireplace, but I've compared it to a lot of other smoky fragrances. It's called By the Fireplace. It's not that smoky to me. Now, Bois Talisman is a lot smokier. By the Fireplace is more gourmand. Now, By the Fireplace has been a favorite fragrance of mine for a long, long time. From that house, what I'm saying. It's not like my number one favorite fragrance of all time, but it's been my favorite fragrance from that house for a long, long time. I think it's a really solid fragrance. And to go after something that smells similar to that, again, I'm not sure if it was intentional or was it accidental. I actually prefer the By the Fireplace. Why am I so disappointed again with Dior? This is really disappointing what's going on with Dior. I don't know who's making these decisions. So to me, the By the Fireplace is a lot brighter. And I don't ever come out and say things like, oh, okay, it's leaning feminine and things like that. But I could say here, in comparison to Bois Talisman, By the Fireplace does have a bit more of a feminine quality. And I feel like the shaved pencil shavings or woods kind of experience in Bois Talisman, the smokiness, does have a more masculine presence. If you felt like By the Fireplace is too feminine, maybe check out Bois Talisman. I also feel like By the Fireplace is definitely more gourmand. You've got that chestnut in here. I believe there's balsamic notes in there. So it's quite balsamic and ambery. And of course, vanillic and the chestnutty nuttiness. So for me, By the Fireplace is total gourmand. And Bois Talisman is not acting gourmand. Sure, it has gourmand notes, but it's toned down with the shavings and the smokiness of the woods. It's interesting. Recently, I noticed. I didn't notice. I actually shot a video with Sarah Baker, who has her own fragrances, and one of the fragrances that she had called Tartan was reformulated, and the cedar that they used in that reformulation made the fragrance smell extremely smoky. So it's interesting that you can actually accomplish things like that from getting your sourcing from one place to another, and the cedar smells completely different. I'm not saying that this was something that happened here, but I think intentionally they went with the smoky pencil shaving experience with the cedar they're using in Bois Talisman compared to, the cedar that's, if there is any cedar or woods in By the Fireplace. But honestly, guys, I'm preferring By the Fireplace. They don't smell identical whatsoever. Not at all. The idea is the same. When you smell them away from one another, yeah, you're going to say, oh my God, that smells like By the Fireplace. Side by side, no. And going back to the smoky thing, and I've mentioned about By the Fireplace not being extremely smoky. When you compare them side by side, there's no smoke here on the By the Fireplace. Lots of smoke here with the Bois Talisman. So Bois Talisman is definitely a lot smokier. But to me, it's not good. I don't know what they did here, but the ingredients don't seem luxurious, unfortunately. That's really, really sad. So again, the one that Francois Dumarche left us with, Vanilla Diorama, is definitely my favorite Privé fragrance still. I mean, of course, it always was Fève Délicieuse, but Vanilla Diorama is fantastic, amazing gourmand. But in this case, we have received something, like I was saying earlier, something that's in the middle of gourmand and woody. Yeah, this is a really disappointing thing. Now, we've had 3 dud fragrances from Dior. I don't know what's next, but this really, really disappoints me, unfortunately. What are we going to get from the House of Dior next? I like the fragrance. I don't love it. But if I'm comparing it to By the Fireplace, I much prefer By the Fireplace because it's a real gourmand. If you like it smoky, then go with the Bois Talisman. But it doesn't smell that good. To me, it's almost like the juice is kind of plasticky or something. I don't know, like you can pull it, like stretch it. It's just got that kind of a texture to it. I don't know. Maybe it'll grow on me. Maybe it's because I've worn By the Fireplace so much. Here's a couple of other things. By the Fireplace seems a bit more faint compared to Bois Talisman, but that kind of makes sense because By the Fireplace is an eau de toilette, and Bois Talisman is an eau de parfum. But not by a lot, though. I much prefer By the Fireplace, guys. What are your thoughts? Let me know. Add a comment below. Let's quickly touch on the bottles again, real quickly before we finish. Again, here, it's a 200 ml bottle of Bois Talisman and a 250 ml bottle of Vanilla Diorama. So I think out there's still some stock of the 250 ml bottles. I'm not sure what they're going to do, but Neiman still had it, from what I heard, several weeks ago. So if you are in the market for any Dior Privé fragrances that you've been wanting, call the stores and ask. I don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to get rid of them and receive new stock of the 200 ml bottles? I don't know. That's a lot of... what do? They get rid of these bottles. They destroy them, most likely. They're not going to put them in a discounter. They're dead. I've never seen them. I've never seen a Dior Privé at discounter, so that's probably what they're going to do. But I'm also hoping that they just let them sell out before they replace them. Because I don't want these bottles to go to waste because, I mean... It's much better to get a 250 ml bottle compared to the 200 ml bottle. But anyway, once again, we have another disappointing day with a Dior fragrance. I'm going to have to use caution going forward with my Dior purchases. Who knows? I'll keep this and maybe come back to it. Maybe it'll grow on me. I don't know. But what do you guys think about Bois Talisman? Let me know. Put a comment down below. Do you think it has similarities to By the Fireplace? Add a comment so we can find out. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. Alright guys, it's been an hour since I've been wearing Bois Talisman on this hand and By the Fireplace on this hand. And the more I smell them side by side, the less they smell like one another. But then again, the idea is similar. There's a lot more smoke that's coming in with the Bois Talisman. No smoke with the By the Fireplace. This is what I've always mentioned. I've always thought there's a fragrance out there by Micallef called Secrets of Love Gourmand, I think, Gourmet. That is a chestnut amber fragrance with an overdose of smoke. I thought to myself, if you're looking for a smokier take on By the Fireplace, get your nose on that fragrance. Even that fragrance doesn't smell like Bois Talisman from what I remember. I don't currently have a bottle here with me. But I also thought to myself, does Bois Talisman remind me of this fragrance? You guys had asked me to get this fragrance because I was told it was really great. And when I did a video about it in a video of Middle Eastern fragrances, I thought it smells a bit cheap. To me, that doesn't smell like By the Fireplace. It also has a very Middle Eastern styling to it. I get oud rose and saffron from it with that kind of By the Fireplace like DNA in there. Still, I'm thinking nothing like the two that I'm testing. And when I'm comparing these two fragrances side by side, I'm still preferring the By the Fireplace. There's something unpleasant in Bois Talisman that is not getting me excited. And I mentioned something that's plasticky, like you can pull it apart. There's a gummy consistency about it in a synthetic way. I don't know, this is my nose picking up. This is the first time I'm dealing with Bois Talisman. Who knows, maybe in the future it'll grow on me, but for now, I don't hate the fragrance. It's another underwhelming fragrance from the house of Dior. At first, I thought I was going to like this one quite a bit. But side by side with By the Fireplace, I kind of like By the Fireplace more. Even though, as I've been saying, they're not very similar fragrances. Anyway, I just wanted to report this out to you guys so that you know a little more info about my experience with Bois Talisman. Do also, like I said, do let me know what your thoughts are on Bois Talisman. Add a comment below so I can find out.